The next couple video, let's talk about how can we pass in pointer through a function as a parameter. Usually when we pass a pointer through the function, we have two purposes. The first one, we can pass a pointer as a variable reference. The second one is, like we say, array name just work like a pointer. So we can using the pointer symbol syntax in the function prototype. So they can pass a pointer just like you pass in the array. So the first thing, let's see how we will pass a pointer like the variable reference. So the variable reference, let's review for a little bit. We have talked about the ampersand to using for the reference. So that's we can work the pointer like that. So when we supposedly to do the function to passing a variable reference, before we write like this. So I have a function called getOrders. So then if I want to pass by reference, that means the variable when I passing in through the function, so they were using the reference to refer to the original location for that variable. So then the symbol is you have data type, then we have the ampersand before your variable name. That means we passing the variable as the reference. So for example, in this function, we get the order. So then because we passing by reference, we're using the local variable name called dollars. So when we have the dollars, actually the dollars actually just work as the int variable. But the reference just means we passing the variable as a reference. So we can prompt to the user, say how many dollars do you want? So then we get how many number the user want. We save the number into the dollars variable. So the dollars variable, when we assign the value to the dollars variable, because they're passing by reference, so this location in the memory location, they will go back to see where the variable argument passing through the function and update there. For example, in the main function, if I declare a variable called jelly donuts, so then I call getOrder function jelly donuts. So here, when I prompt to the user to ask how many donuts you want, so this number, even in the local variable, we use the donuts to refer to that. But the number from the user input will be updated to the jelly donuts from the main function. So that's from the program we see they work like this, right? So that's more clear in the memory location, so you will understand better. So here we see, for example, this is our local function implementation. Our local function, we have the getOrders function. So then the variable name we call donuts. Of course, this local variable, they do have their memory address. They have the memory location here. But because this donuts is the int reference, so that's why when they restored the value, they only store the memory address when we pass in the argument. So that's why you can see here, this one actually is the donuts memory. In the memory, the donuts occupy the location. But this one is local function. So in the main function, you see I have a jelly donuts variable. So that's their location. So then I call the function, I pass in jelly donuts. So this jelly donuts, actually, they will have the address here saved in the donuts local variable location. So this donuts parameter, actually in the getOrder function, they are referring to the location in the main function for the jelly donuts variable. Because what? Because this is the reference symbol. This dereference symbol tells us the donuts is holding a memory address. So that's why when we see in to get the user input, we want to save to the donuts. The compiler automatically see this one is the address. So that's why they will find the address and overwrite the value here. we just say, for example, user, if the user enter 5 here, if we see in user input, so if the user input is 5 here, so then this 5 will be overwrite to copy over to the jelly donuts 5 here. Because when they try to save in the donuts location, right? But compiler see this one is the address, they will find the location, so then update the value here. So that's this one is before we say when you have a function but you passing by reference. So we can see if we want to passing the reference through the function. So our function header, you will have the data type. So then you have your ampersand symbol. So then when you passing by reference, even we update in the local function, they will find the address back to the where we call the function, for example, in the main function, and update the address. So whenever we try to passing by reference, our function header will be look like this. You need to have your ampersand symbol to represent this passing argument is passing by reference. But in the main function, when you call the function, you just simply passing the variable. So this one just we refer to see review how we will passing variable by reference. So now when we talk about how to passing the pointer as a function parameter, they will be similar like you passing by reference. Just your pointer is the parameter. So when you're passing the pointer as the parameter, they work like reference variable. They allow to change the argument from the calling function. So when we passing a pointer through the function header will look like this. You need to have your pointer asterisk symbol to represent the passing parameter is a pointer. So we just using earlier our example. Our example, we have the get order. So we want to pass in by reference. So you can either write like this, you passing the reference variable. So that represent you passing the argument as a reference. Or you can write like this. You will write as the int pointer. So then we make this variable is a pointer. So then the different thing is when you passing as a pointer, if you want to update the value the pointer refer to, when you do the cin, you need to have the dereference. So then when you call the function, you need to pass in the variable. But because this variable, you need to assign the value into the pointer. So when you call the function, you need to pass in the variable within the reference symbol. Because the reference symbol, they will get the address. So that's how we can assign to the pointer. So that's why here in the memory location, you can see very similar like this one. But the different thing is when you pass in by reference, this donuts variable can refer to the using the variable name to refer to the jelly donut variable in the main function. So then you can just pass in the jelly donuts. But if we change our using the pointer symbol, so your pointer symbol actually here when they implement this one. Okay, so in the memory location, they will look like this. So I change here before we using the reference. But when you change become the pointer, so then your header will be like int ptr, pointer ptr. So then how many donuts when you want to update, you need to see into the, remember ptr just a pointer. So that's why you want to update the data, you need to dereference. So when you dereference that, if the user input is 5, so then they will get the PTR, you want to do the dereference, they will see from the PTR the address referred to is the jelly donuts. So then they will update the value as the asterisk PTR from the address in the argument. But the most important thing is when you call the function, be careful your argument, you need to have your ampersand symbol. Because remember, this address will be stored in the pointer location. So that's why you can see here, when you're passing by the pointer, they really work like you're passing by reference. So either this one, or you want to passing by reference, they work exactly the same. Just the function header and your function, when you're calling the function, if you're passing by reference, they're only passing by the variable name. But if you're passing through the pointer, so when you call the function, you need to have the ampersand to get the address to the pointer to assign. So after you understand that, we can see for this one. So this one is we really show you with the same thing we try to pass in by reference, but we're using the pointer to pass in by reference. In the first one, get number, I pass in the int variable through the pointer. Then I will update the number I get from the user input. So then the double value, I will still pass in the variable by pointer. So then we will double the argument we passing in the function. So you can see these two functions, we just see the implementation first, then we see how it happen in the main function. So then in your get number, right, you see, because you told me you passing by pointer. So input is a pointer variable name. But here I ask the user to enter an integer number. So I want to update through the pointer. So I need to have the asterisk symbol. So this asterisk symbol input will get from the user input, but update back to the argument we passing. So then this one is passing by the pointer. So the same thing, you can have the double value, that's another function. So we just double the variable we passing through the pointer. So again, you want to double the value, right? So you need to using the dereference. So your asterisk variable pointer, asterisk associate with the pointer variable, that will be the dereference. So then we multiply, then we assign back. So what happened is, here is how the function implementation you passing by pointer. But in your main function, when you call the get number, I define a numbers in the main function. But when I passing to call the function, because they're passing by pointer, I need to using the dereference to get the address from the numbers. So that's why I can pass to the pointer. So I get the number from user input. So using this number, I continue to double that. So then you will see the main function at the beginning, my numbers actually didn't initialize. But after I run, you see the sample output. We get the user input is 10. So we got the 10, we update from the get numbers to the main function. Then from main function, we passing the number to the double value function again. So that's why result from the numbers change to 20. So that will display the number is 20. Of course, you have to run this example 7 on your IDE. So that's here we have the numbers. So then we call the two function passing by pointer. So that's how we implement these two functions. So then you can see here, we can run the program. Then the first one, when we get the user input, for example, that's 50. So then that's because we're using the get number, we passing the number variable through the pointer. So even we update the input here, but they will update back to the numbers here. So after we get that, the number equal to 50. So then after I enter, you see when we go back to the 50, then they passing the 50 to the double values again. But these double values I passing by pointer as well. So that's why they will update this 50 become double. So we display 100.